Okay, so today was a delightful day on Twitter, or X as it's now known. There was a lot of overt hostility towards a particular collective.
Dear white people.
And I was sort of thinking, I could try and piece this together to make an interesting video. But, well, Dan Wooten went ahead and did it for me on GB News.
Wonderful.
I'm going to make a transformative piece of reaction content, okay? So, fair use is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so the first thing that I saw today on Twitter, on X, was this absolute nerd saying that it was terrible that the England women's football team weren't all black. Everyone's going mental about it as though this hasn't been happening for years, absolute boring idiot nerds going on television saying stuff they might think or they don't think, and they're just doing it to draw attention to themselves. They're either narcissists or retards. It doesn't really matter. Don't get worked up about it. Let's roll the clip, shall we?
The only thing I would say about this picture here, what jumps out of you is that this doesn't sort of represent diverse Britain. It's all these blonde, blue-eyed girls, and I wish them well.
I wish them well, even though they are blonde and blue eyes. I don't want to put them all in some place where they can't get out. Who's taking this nerd seriously?
This doesn't sort of represent diverse Britain.
This doesn't sort of represent diverse Britain. Doesn't it, you big spacker?
You're a posh spaz.
Oh.
It's all these blonde, blue-eyed girls, and I wish them well. But
I wish them well. Imagine if I'm looking at the Great Britain Olympics team, which is made up of a lot of black people, and I sort of go, well, that's great. It's all diverse and everything, but it's not really representative of ethnic Britons. Imagine if I said something that overtly racist. This guy is a complete nerd. He either doesn't believe what he's saying, or he's just too thick to realise how mad it sounds.
But I do think we need to ask ourselves questions about why is it that we've got it has a lack of diversity.
They're playing sport.
Hang on. We need to ask ourselves questions about why the diversity.
We need to ask ourselves questions about why is it that we've got it has a lack of diversity.
Why is it we have to ask ourselves questions as to why is it have a lack of diversity, racism stuff? Let's get into that just briefly. It's a 23-woman squad, the England team, and I'm sure if any of you have been following this, 3 of them are black. So 4% of the population in the UK are black. And there are 3 out of a 23-woman squad who are black. That's 13%. They're overrepresented. I think we should be fine with that, because I'm not a racist. I don't think we need quotas. Don't bring back segregation. Do I think we should have separate water fountains? No!
They're playing sport at an elite level.
Yeah.
And they are from Britain.
Okay, good observation there. They are playing sport, and they are from Britain. This reminds me, for those of you who don't know, I'm a TEFL teacher, teaching English as a foreign language. One of the activities the kids have to do, the teenagers really, when they're doing their sort of intermediate level tests, you give them a photo and they have to describe what's in the photo. You could show them the picture. Or what are those women feeling? I can see elite sports women having a good time. That's what the presenter just did there. She would pass B2 level English tomorrow if we gave her the test.
They're playing sport at an elite level.
Yeah.
And they are from Britain. They're women.
They're women. They are women. That is undeniable. Well, yes, that's... don't cancel me.
It doesn't make any difference. I think if the whole idea behind this is going to encourage more women to go and into the sport, you need some sort of representation there to say whatever background you come from.
Some sort of representation that 3 of the 23 are black, right? That's what he's talking about now, because nobody cares. For some reason, nobody cares about the other races. They don't care that there's no Asians there, for example. Ooh, the diversity.
You need some sort of representation to say, whatever background you come from, you could get to this sort of level.
When I started watching football, the first players I ever sort of became obsessed with were the Brazilian national team. The 98 World Cup, I was obsessed with Ronaldo. I didn't even support England or Sheffield United as a kid. I was Brazil and Inter Milan because of Ronaldo. The other players in the Brazilian national team at that time, Rivaldo, Romario, Denilson and Roberto Carlos, Cafu. None of them were white. I didn't think, oh, they're great at football, but can't see myself. Oh, Alan Shearer. Now there's a man I can get behind.
You're a cracking role model. I actually thought to myself, like, he's a Geordie bloke, he's doing great for himself. It's possible, do you know what I mean?
A Northern Englishman, working class.
I just try to do things right. I was brought up the right way, I think.
I can understand him.
My mum and dad worked their arse off.
Dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing.
No, I don't think it works like that. These nerds who've never played sport in their life. What would encourage you to play basketball? What sports have you ever played? Curling? Look at him telling us what will encourage the yobbos to go into professional sport. Shut up, you spaz.
So important when you speak to these little girls, that they see someone that they can relate to.
Is it? When you speak to the little girls, they tell you that. Little 4 or 5-year-old girls in primary schools, and you go, now, what do you notice about the England women's team? Not a lot of black girls, are there?
That's racist!
You're never going to make it. You're never going to make it until they introduce quotas.
Oh, well, goddamn.
Don't do the voices, Danny.
Speak to these little girls, that they see someone that they can relate to.
Exactly. It makes such a difference that
It makes such a difference, yeah.
You're a posh spaz.
the little girl might then end up playing football because she's seen someone who looks like her.
Yeah, right. Okay, so we're going to move on to the Shola incident. You know Shola? Bamba Bingawoo? I shouldn't have said that. I don't know what has said. Actually, I do. I've got it here. Shola Shogbamimu. I didn't say it that wrong, did I? Oh, God, I'm going to be... This is like Jade Goody on Celebrity Big Brother for saying, she'll dum. Let's move on and find out what this vile woman said about my people. Let my people go.
Was race beta-in-chief Dr. Shola, deciding to make the conviction of Britain's most prolific child killer in modern history, Lucy Letby, who today we learned will rightly die in prison, an issue of race. The regular on Woke ITV and Channel 5 tweeted this.
Lucy Letby exemplifies how ideology of whiteness keeps Britain in a chokehold. They believed her tears, denials, even though evidence said otherwise, for no other reason than she's white. A black or brown nurse would have been reported to the police immediately and sacked for suspicion.
So that is obviously insane. But then Dr. Shola mos-shogbamimu. And for those of you who are interested, you can take a look at this other video I did about Adeshola Babington Ashai and why she was so keen to get rid of her maiden name. You shouldn't be listening to anything she says or taking it seriously. She is... Look at her. Ooh, I'm going to kill all of you. Okay, I'm going to be... careful what I say. Nelson Mandela. That's the vibe I get from her. Dr. Shola is the granddaughter of kings. Her father is a prince. She is the daughter of people who owned and sold thousands of slaves. Or granddaughter. Maybe her father didn't do that. Her grandfather certainly did. They're apologising to this day to the Nigerian people for the atrocities they committed. She is a wealthy, privileged, expensively educated grifter. She could just be working as an attorney. But no! Free Nelson Mandela! You ain't been freeing nobody, lady! It's absolutely mental that she would go this far to grift. Just use the agony of parents and entire families. A nation, dare I say. If there's ever a time when I think that people can feel indignant, it's when there's children involved. The fact that anybody could use that to make it about themselves. Like this. Freedom fighter! Dr. Shola mos-shogbamimu is a grifter and she owned slaves. No, she didn't. She responded to all of the outrage by saying, that's a narcissistic thing to do, ironically, isn't it, when you're talking about a baby killer? I'm deeply regretful to those I've offended re my post on Lucy Letby. Please accept my regret at your lack of critical thinking skills, poor reading comprehension, and being a despicable human who's more outraged at truth of whiteness ideology than at a baby murderer. Stay offended. Don't be offended. You don't know her. You're never going to meet her. You don't have to give her the satisfaction of being offended. She is a very, very sad human being, born into immense wealth. Can you imagine being as wealthy as this daughter of slave owners, Dr. Shola? Doctor. More narcissistic is impossible. She is not a medical doctor, but she calls herself doctor because, well, she's got an inferiority complex. Do you know, she was born into all this wealth. She's got a great job, could have a great job as an attorney, but that's just not enough. She needs fame. She needs to be representing something, some movement. Oh, my fist! Shouty Shola, shitty Shola, more like. Don't get wound up by them. Stay cool like me. She's a horrible person. You should feel sorry for her, though. You know, I mean, really you should. Because she's so rich and so wealthy and so privileged, far more than any white person she's ever met, or black person she's ever met, or bought or sold. And she is still desperate for relevance. Ignore her. It doesn't matter. Or let's call her out, but let's not get all indignant about it. You know, she's a horrible human being. Let's just hope that she's one of these vulnerable narcissists that cries herself to sleep every night. Because the world, why does everybody hate me when I'm just trying to help everyone? I just want to free Nelson Mandela. Because I'm such a good person. Imagine that. And that'll soothe your anger, you know. You're right to be indignant about somebody being such a horrible, horrible, mean-spirited grifter like Dr. Shola. But just don't worry too much about it, you know. She's not a happy person. She has no real friends. I'll catch you in the next one, guys.